Hi everyone, I just wanted to make a quick tips and tricks videos for our class based on the things that I kept seeing come up over and over in the troubleshooting. So I want to talk about navigating our course. I want to talk about making the mymathlab homework bigger so that it's easier to see. And I want to talk about the textbook and accessing that. And I also want to talk about what's called an external display. So first, for navigating our course, there's a Start Here button that brings you directly to the Start Here module, which has a ton of information, but we don't need it all right now, so let's let that collapse. And then we have what are called units, and each unit is separating exams. So there's units in between exams. So there's Unit 2, all of this information is in Exam 1. So if we look at the unit information, we see that there's an overview, and the overview is just that. It's a very small sort of summary of what's going to go on in that unit. It's a good checklist when you're going through because we have so much kind of different information that it's nice to be able to go back and see what you've covered and make sure that you've got the basics for each section. So you can turn this into a checklist, you can copy paste it into Word, and you can edit it and make sure that you feel comfortable. You can make notes under each one so that you can summarize the information for yourself. It's a good way to study for the exam to make sure that you've covered the main topics for that exam. There's also a way to navigate directly to each week from here. Besides that, you can go to each week through the modules. Each week contains the material, including lectures. They have my lecture slides, they have homework, and our discussions. So I did want to point out that the Pearson lectures for week 2 look like a homework assignment, and it looks like it's getting graded. This was just the only way that I could move the lectures in an organized manner into Canvas. Otherwise, it would just like upload all of the lectures ever in every single video that's ever existed, and it won't, like, you just have a giant database of it, and it would be too confusing to try and go through and find the correct one to watch. So this allowed me to organize it for you, but it did turn it into a homework, which looks like it's being graded. But if you go to the Assignments tab, when it loads, any second now, you can scroll down to the bottom and you'll see that the Pearson lectures are 1, not for credit, and 2, worth 0% of your grade. So if you're doing these and there's some sort of error, or it's just more effort than it's worth, or you don't like the video and you're watching other videos on YouTube that you like better, that's fine. You don't have to worry about completing those. They're not actually a part of your grade. I did want to point out that the dashboard contains a to-do list on the right-hand side. Mine is all grading, but yours will be a to-do list of things that are due, and you'll have a coming up list as well. And the syllabus page will also have a similar list at the bottom. So week 1 is a pretty heavy week, but remember you had a week and a half to complete it. The other weeks are a little bit shorter, and I did want to point out that you can as well, if you were a bullet journaler, like one of our students, you can write it all down and sort of make it into a checklist. But if you're not, you can copy paste them into Word. And then sort of mess with the margins of this table a little bit so it fits. There we go. Now I've got the table actually on here. So then I can delete this first column. Oops, Control Z, don't delete the whole thing. And then I've just got a list of the concepts and when they're due. And now I can make a nice checklist to make sure that I'm staying on top of it. It can be overwhelming, even though there's a checklist and a to-do list in Canvas. It can be just overwhelming to have so many tabs open and so many things going on the screen. So it is nice, if you can, to have a paper and pencil copy of what you need to accomplish each week that you can like tape to the wall and check off things as you go. Okay, I wanted to mention an issue with the homepage and the link to the textbook. So if I click on the link to the textbook, everything works fine. And some of you aren't getting that far, but I did want to show you how to fix the error that someone had emailed me. Now when I try and click anywhere else, oh, of course it worked. So normally it would give a 401 error and just like be a blue screen with a 401 error. The reason it worked is because I've already gone in and kind of poked around at the homework. So when you saw me open the mymathlab homework with the videos in it. As soon as I did that, it set the cookie for mymathlab. So if you're trying to go straight to the textbook and you haven't opened any mymathlab homework and you're not doing anything in mymathlab, you may get a 401 error that says it won't work. The easiest way to fix it is just to go to the MyLab and Mastering and then select any of these links in here. And that forces, like I said, that cookie to start working. And so now it knows you're logged into mymathlab, and now it will give you access to the book. So anytime you're getting a 401 error for the textbook, try just opening a homework in the same browser, just in a new tab, and then try the book again and it should be fine. So in the modules, when you're doing the homework, it can be really tiny. So I'm on a big, nice, huge screen, so they don't look bad for me. But some of the homework problems can be really long with lots of parts, and then it's kind of confusing to have to scroll around through them. So you can collapse the menu on the left by hitting the little hamburger menu at the top to make that go away so you have a little bit more room for the homework. But even that is probably not enough if I squish this down to the size of a typical laptop. That's pretty tiny, and this is annoying to try and scroll through to read. And this is annoying to try and scroll through to answer. So the best way to avoid doing that is to go to the MyLab and Mastering tab. Leave. Select the All Assignments. And then open the assignment through here because it's no longer embedded inside of Canvas. So the Canvas menu goes away and now you have full screen for your homework. So it's much easier to read and to do. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is that as online students, many of us buy a laptop, right? Because we want to be able to do our homework anywhere. But the downfall of a laptop is that tiny, tiny screen that makes sort of functioning in the online world more difficult because it's harder to see, it's harder to have more stuff open. So I did want to point out that there is an external display option, and it's just a fancy word for another monitor. So monitors by themselves that aren't computers are not free, but they're pretty reasonably priced. So I've got like an $80 or $90 one here and a $65 one here. And then what you would do is connect it through an HDMI cord to your laptop so that when you're at home, you would have like that's a 20-inch monitor, a big monitor to be able to do your work on, at least at home. And then when you need to leave and you want to work at work, then you're back on your laptop. But it does give you the option. So I've just Googled external display for a laptop, and there's some videos on how to set them up. It does give you option while you're at home to have a nice big workspace so that you don't feel so cramped in it. And it helps with that feeling of being overwhelmed when you're trying to do a lot online. Okay, I hope you find this video helpful. I just wanted to give some quick tips that have come in handy for me when I was learning online and as I've been teaching online. And I hope you found them useful.